of us over time can get very entrenched in certain things. That's really what substance use is. You're doing the same thing over and over, sometimes even knowing it's hurting you. You're not even having the quote unquote benefits that you used to get, and people continue to do it. So one of the beautiful things about psychedelics is it provides this open door.
Why for over 30 years I kept relapsing.
Yeah.
I didn't realize how much I had accomplished in my life. He said, Bob, I won't let you have. Can you help me? The coaching work I do, the neurorestorative, neurotransformative, it's all about engaging that process of neuroplasticity, right? And creating these new neural pathways. Because in my experience, in my relapse behavior, over a 30-year period, I never gave up. I kept coming back. I went to all the high-end treatment centers and blah, blah, blah. And my discovery was actually when I got to Ocean Drive and they took pictures of my brain and physically showed me that the disease of addiction resided in my brain. And it was, when I saw that, I remember exhaling, like it was a feeling of forgiveness.
Yeah.
Bob, you've got a disease in your brain. It didn't forgive necessarily the behavior, the picking up the drink, because I'm the one that did that. But it was an understanding of why for over 30 years I kept relapsing.
Yeah.
But what I couldn't figure out or understand is, while I felt good about the fact I never gave up, why didn't I give up?
Mm-hmm.
And for me, I wasn't just able to accept the fact that I never did. I wanted to know why.
Yeah.
And it was driving me. So I got involved with my own coach and came to learn. And I believe this is for a lot of people that are caught in what I call that repetitive cycle of recovery.
Mm-hmm.
They want to recover. They're in a cycle. They don't give up, but they go back to that same
which can be really demoralizing
behavior. And the reason that I never gave up, and the reason I think other people don't give up, is yes, inside of us we have this, call it other personality, other persona. I like to refer to it perhaps as our own inner champion, our own inner hero, or whatever. That cheerleader that's been there, I believe for me since the day, I was born in a Catholic adoption home in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
And, enough was never enough, but something inside of me kept moving me forward my entire life. And in business and making money and all that, I was always highly successful, but there was something missing inside.
Yeah.
And that kind of, resulted in my divorce at the end of a 40-year marriage the year before I went to Karen. And, that year my alcoholism went to a level I had never experienced, just out of rage and hurt and whatever. But I didn't give up. And yes, it took a friend of mine to walk me in the front door of Karen and learn about the brain. And so when I left, I remember I got home. I was living by myself now, had a big front door. And at the front door, this is after 30 days of treatment, I had a white golden retriever, Ella. They have those beautiful soupy eyes.
Yeah.
So I'm opening the front door. Ella's looking up at me. And I can remember like it was yesterday. I looked down at her and I said, Ella, now what the fuck?
Yeah.
And the reality was hitting me. I didn't have meetings to go to that afternoon. Nobody was cooking me dinner or making my bed or whatever.
It's really
I was on my own. But I knew the value of connection, so I put a schedule together. And 6 days a week, I was out and about with other people, whether it's sitting in our patient meetings back at Karen, ended up chairing in Boca some AA meetings. I got totally involved so that I was around other people all day. And my home became like a gathering place for people.
Yeah.
Different alumni, whatever, when they just needed a safe place, would show up at Bob's front door, which was nice. But what they also observed is that there was a loneliness in me that was becoming evident to them.
Okay.
And that I wasn't wired or suited to live by myself. 40-year divorce to a high school sweetheart.
Yeah.
I had never lived on my own. Now I'm living on my own, successfully battling my addiction to alcoholism, but with no real purpose. So it's kind of lost. So I share this coming out of an AA meeting one night. I run into a guy who was a distant cousin of the alumni that actually got me into Karen and said he was starting a coaching program. Would I be interested? And I said, yes. And what we ended up doing was for 4 or 5 months getting together for an hour and a half every week. And I would just talk. I would just talk about whatever needed to come out. And what I discovered during that process was that there was another Bob Wick inside of me that kept me going all those years. And I think what happened was I was engaging the process of neuroplasticity, creating these new neural pathways, totally changing how I viewed my life experiences. And I had been told some of that was impacted by adoption, and I always blew that off, not me, blah, blah, blah. When in fact, there was some truth to that. My pride and ego. But how I viewed myself started to change completely. And it got very positive and very solid. Yeah. I think the most important thing that occurred was that inner voice inside my head. And I think we all have that inner voice. Right. Everybody has one. And mine for a long time was my worst enemy. I'd relapse. Here you go again, Bob. You're nothing but a run-of-the-mill alcoholic. You're never going to get this shame on you. And now I could look in the mirror and say, yeah, look how long you've been sober. Right. Look what you've discovered about yourself. Yes, you are helping other people just by being their friend. They're attracted to you. They want to come to your front door and spend time with you. Yeah. So during my coaching process, the fellow I was working with, and I didn't know it at the time, he was also sharing what he learned with me with some other highly influential people behind the scenes who I respect. It came to me one day and said, Bob, you need to be doing this and helping other people. You need to be the coach, bringing what you've experienced, your belief, your message to other people. And it took me a while to settle in on that. And did I believe in myself enough that I could do it? And then the experiences I had with other people, I asked other people, and the consensus was, yeah, Bob, get your ass out of here. And you need to be helping people. So I tried to put together, or not tried, I have put together the process that I like to take people through. And I want to share with you real quickly to see if this process in any way, shape, or form makes sense for somebody to engage in after they've gone through their therapeutic work with you, have dealt with their respective trauma or drama or whatever. And to use your word, which you shared with me about a month ago on a phone call, and I love it, which how do you operationalize all of this and put it into life? Because I don't like to talk about, you can live a fulfilling life. I want to talk about thriving and experiencing life. So very quickly, the 8 steps I take people through. Number 1, we want to take a look at the causes and conditions of their life, what brought them to me, and kind of understand help them understand their version of their story. Okay. Might not be how other people see it, but what's their version of their story. Then destroy any denial that might exist. This wasn't my fault, or somebody did this to me, or whatever. Let's get as realistic and as much clarity around what has happened to you and try to break out of whatever victim mindset you might still be carrying inside. That's really important. And then are they prepared to answer the call? Are they truly willing at this moment with me to commit to making a change in themselves? Then I've got to know that's there. Yeah. Otherwise, it's not good use of their time. Right. It's not good use of mine. But most importantly, and the piece that made the biggest impact on me is making an inspired inventory. Let's go back and review your life and look at all you've accomplished. And I'll give you an example of that. I was sitting in an Ocean Drive meeting on Friday, relapse prevention. So these are all current patients. And they asked me to talk, share some comments. And I looked at the group and I said, how many of you are here for the first time? There were maybe 10 or 11 people in the room. One hand went up. So I'm looking going, all right, these are a bunch of chronic relapsers just like Bob Wick. Yep. I said, before you come back next Friday, it's a true story. I said, I want you to go home and write down 2, 3, 4 things you've accomplished in your life that have nothing to do with trust funds, inheritances, the family business, how much money you made, how big your freaking house is. Things you've accomplished that you probably haven't thought about in a long time.
Yeah.
Because you don't give yourself time to maybe pat yourself on the back. So when I talk about the inspired inventory, a week later, I'm in the same meeting. And at the end of the meeting, this person stands up. The person we were just talking about a few minutes ago walks over to me and said, I made your effing list. And he goes, I didn't realize how much I had accomplished in my life. Almost brought me to tears. And he said, Bob, I won't let you have. Can you help me?
Perfect.
That, for me, was one of the most powerful moments. So when I talk about the inspired inventory, I think that's so important because if we are a chronic relapse, we've been so caught up in what's not going right that we never give time to take a look at ourselves, value ourselves, and remember what we've accomplished. But
that's an important distinction of what you said about make a list about things that aren't about what you have or what you were given, more accomplishments that are related to who you are. I think that is such a critical, because they can completely own it in a way that you can't if it has to do with something material or something you feel like you were handed that advantage or something. So
first time you became a parent or so your child graduated, just moments where you're proud things you accomplished. And I'm not sure. I know I never used to give myself time to think maybe even admit that I had any, let alone remember them or take a look at them. So we go through the inspired inventory, number 4. Number 5 is we begin a transformation. We start taking action with structure, and that's part of somewhat tasks I will now give them. We get together for, let's say, 4 times a week for 2 or 3 months. Now we got to start taking some action, and that's around building that balance physically, mentally, and spiritually, and what all that entails. For me, I signed up a trainer and I lost at one point 50 pounds, even though I put a lot back on. But physically, I needed to take charge of my life. Spiritually, I had to reconnect with my understanding of God. I was raised a Catholic. I'm still a Catholic, but I got lost for a while. So physically, spiritually, mentally. But now, number 5 is taking some actions. Number 6, before we move forward, and this does come right out of AA, we've got to amend our past, whether those are relationships, whatever that might be. But we're at the point in time in life now, we need a real clean slate, emotionally, mentally, whatever we're carrying around. Those, and they're not apologies, they're recognitions of things that transpired in the past. Let's make the effort to do away with those to the best of our ability. Number 7 is time to start become fully alive, visualizing where you want to be. How much time are you spending in daily prayer and meditation? Are you giving this real thought as to where you arrived at life? And the final step is now start sharing the experience you went through with others. The old AA expression, you can't keep what you don't give away. You finally arrived. You went through all this work. Now start sharing it with other people. And
so I did. Remember who you are. Remember what you're capable of doing. Remember what you've done, but not in a shaming way. If there's things that you regret or make amends for, need to live amends for. And then how do we operationalize who you are now that you remember who you are? And then how do you pay it forward? Because the last step of learning something is teaching it. Beautiful. Love it.
The very first step, learning who you are, I would say right before that is rediscovering.
Remembering really who you.
I rediscovered that this good Bob Wick person was there. In my years of active alcoholism, I lost touch with them. I got so caught up in that alcoholic addictive behavior, what my brain was telling me and how it was moving me forward in my thinking. I forgot. Inside there's a really good Bob Wick.
And even when people were coming to the house and you're surrounded by people, it would seem probably obvious to people that you're not alone, that you're great, that you draw people to you, but you needed other people in your orbit to say, but you're still lonely. I can feel it, and we need other people.
So I have a lot of passion based on what I experienced personally, and that's what I try to bring to others through the coaching process that I've built. And engaging that process of neuroplasticity and changing, using the brain and how we view ourselves and life events, and then that inner voice, letting it become your real champion.
Yeah.
Question is, for anyone who's on the fence with going to therapy, what would you say to them?
Just try it. And just like an AA meeting, if somebody goes to one and they don't connect for some reason, don't quit. You go to other meetings. They all have different cultures. So just try it. Tell the person exactly what you're looking for. Feel them out like you would any other relationship. See if it's a good fit. If it is, great. If it's not, think about what did I like and not like. Keep going. If someone... If I know someone well, or if someone's asking me, I can usually come up with a name that will fit. So sometimes even that therapist could come up with a name for a relative or someone else. So yeah, just try it.
Just try it.
Can't hurt. Yeah.
I like it.
Interesting.
Bob,
yeah, I mean, if my first reaction was, if they're sitting on the fence, how did they get on the fence to begin with? And maybe they need to change what they've been trying, because it obviously hadn't worked for them. That's why they're on the fence. But two, to have an open mind, because if they're on the fence, as you say, at that point, what do they have to lose by giving a treatment center in their procedure an honest effort? All it's going to cost them is time and a little bit of money relative to everything else. So why not let yourself get off the fence and try something different than what you've been doing? Because you're probably caught in that repetitive cycle of recovery. Let's see if we can break out of that cycle. But to close today, Maggie, thank you. I always learn so much.
Of course. It was just a delight. Yeah. I always like talking about
this whole area of the treatment of psychedelics and where it can go. It's a new frontier, and I look forward to watching it. And we both, I mean, somewhat parallel, the new frontier and the use of psychedelics, and what I'm doing today on the neurorestorative, neurotransformative coaching, somewhat of a new area also. And I remember years ago getting an award at work. Yeah. And it was a clock, battery operated freaking clock, but they were making it out like it was a ton of gold. But I remember what caught me on the plate that was on it was Robert Wick, visionary thinker. And it had to do with the business I was in. Beautiful. It was at the time. Yeah. But I think about what you're doing with the psychedelics, what I'm doing with the neurotransformative coaching. It is, in a way, somewhat visionary, because it's new. It's new, somewhat at the beginning. But for me, that floats my boat, that just discovering something new and seeing where it goes. It's just fascinating, and the more tools we have, the better. Yeah.
All right, so we just wrapped up a pretty sweet video with Maggie Doolan. How was it? How did you enjoy it?
Maggie always excites me. She's such a forward thinker. She's as real as they can be. She's helped so many people. She's very creative. And just learning about all that psychedelic treatment and kind of being at the forefront of it. And we talk about, I'm a little bit in the same way with the neuroplasticity and the coaching work I'm doing. Yeah, it just, I'm full of gratitude being with her and excited at the same time. I always have that feeling when I walk away from time with Maggie. She's just so real, and gets me excited. I got a big smile on my face.
She's even better in person. She was warm, she's sweet, she's silly. What if for viewers that are sitting on the fence with the idea of engaging in any kind of coaching with someone who can really step in and work with them on their journey to recovery, what would you say to them?
I would say don't hesitate, don't wait. For me, when I went through my coaching, it was the biggest life changer I ever had. I'd been sober for a while, I'd gone through all the therapy, the high-end treatment centers, but I wasn't living. I was lost, I was existing, and going through the coaching, getting in touch with the real Bob Wick, and rediscovering who I was has changed my life completely. And today, at 72 years old, I'm more alive than I've ever been, working with people like Maggie Doolan, coaching other people like yourselves that are watching. Nothing more fulfilling. So if you're on the fence, get off. Give yourself a chance. Be fair to yourself. You're not treating yourself fairly. You're not being true to yourself if you're stuck. And I can say that from somebody who had been stuck for a long time. Give yourself an opportunity. Love yourself.
Guys, if you enjoyed the video, if you found any ounce of value out of this video, hit the like button. It'll show us that the content resonated with you, that you enjoyed it, and that we're doing the right thing. If you did not like it, no worries. Don't like the video. Don't dislike the video, because it's going to push us down in the algorithm and it won't allow us to reach more people. But subscribe if you want more content like this. Hit the bell notification so that every video that comes out, you're notified of it. And leave a comment down below. What should they comment? What would you want them to comment?
It was insightful. It was beneficial. Keep doing what you're doing. Thanks for making my day.